The floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Yeah, so just thank you for the introduction, and just to complete with a few words, we see nice pictures with the previous presentation of Palo Alto. So I was in Palo Alto as well, and at that time I did a presentation on an implementation I did of an index system for LaTeX. So it's a make index. You swap the M and the K, and it gives Kame index. So that's the index system I implemented for Palo Alto conference. And the thing was that this index system, unlike make index, supports non-Latin, so not Roman alphabet indexing. For example, Japanese, Chinese, and so on. So that was previous work for me. So yeah, so languages, natural languages, okay, processing and information representation is one major part of my research, and so today this short presentation will be on typesetting Latin verse scansion. So I think yesterday or the day before we had some presentations, and I remember hearing some prose comments, but today it's not prose, it's verse. Okay, so yeah, I wanted to compare what can be done with bare LaTeX, and if there are any advantages in using Lua LaTeX. Okay. So Latin verses are based on what is called prosody, that is the syllable quantity, or so-called duration. And so basically we have three durations in Latin, so long, short, or common. And based on the syllable quantity, we can, how should I say, define metrical feet. For example, so there are many fancy names in this, let's say, feet names. So many fancy names. Like, for example, the foot called dactyl consists in one long syllable followed by two short syllables. Okay, so the quantity of a syllable is determined by the quantity of its vowel, and maybe you're not aware, maybe you are. Large parts of the Latin literature are written in verse, like Virgil, masterpiece, and Ovid, and so on. So it's really interesting to see what we can do with TUG, because this is not really some kind of exceptional or corner case or something. No, it's really large parts of the Latin literature is written in verse. So when I'm a computer scientist, so I don't know very well about how professors they teach Latin scansion at university, but it's very interesting to be able to typeset. Okay, to typeset this, including for pedagogical purposes. So okay, so let's continue. Now, what about scansion? So this is about identifying feet, okay, metrical feet within each verse. And this requires evaluating the quantity of the verse syllables. So to this end, diacritical marks are used. So as I said, there are three durations for syllables. So a bref denotes a short vowel, so the diacritical marks you can see here. A macron is like the horizontal bar atop the vowel to denote a long vowel. And we can combine, and now it gets interesting from the typesetting point of view, because we need sometime to combine both, because a common can be either long or short, so usually we combine the macron and over that the breve. So that's where it gets interesting. Furthermore, a verse is usually split into two parts, And this is called césure. In French, we say césure. I'm French, by the way. So in English, well, that's the Latin word as is, caesura. I don't know how to pronounce in English very well. Well, how all this is materialized in the document, usually the cut, right, the split, says caesura, is usually emphasized. Oh, I have a laser pointer. The caesura is often materialized with a double vertical bar like this. And on the other hand, metrical feet, they are separated usually by vertical bars. Now, actually, this is even deeper, okay, than this, because we have additional symbols for elision. Elision means that a vowel disappears, is kind of eaten, okay, disappears. And there is also some symbol for the hiatus. Now, okay, let's. That's it for the introduction. So let's go back to LaTeX. I should get used to Beamer, by the way. Sorry, PowerPoint. Well, the first issue, okay, single and multiple diacritical marks. So, as you know, I guess there is no issue, okay, when dealing with a single diacritical mark for one character. Okay, there are several patterns here, right? One diacritic, but we also need to consider where is it placed? Where is it placed? Yeah, on top of one letter or several letters. Okay, so usually LaTeX does a really good job with a single diacritical mark. Is really almost flawless, maybe flawless, not almost, maybe I think flawless. So, yeah, today I will talk about Unicode. That's why I'm considering LuaTeX. Both accented Unicode characters, you see the brave atop the A and the macron also above the A, and letters manually marked with the command, LaTeX command, LaTeX commands, /u for the brave, \= for the macron, are correctly rendered. Okay, so we can use either one. It's just no problem at all. So, on the other hand, the stacking, as you know, I think this is also a very well-known issue, and the stacking of several diacritical marks atop one letter remains difficult. Once again, I am considering the case of Bear LaTeX. For instance, yeah, that's what I mean. If you want to put brave atop the macron, well, you might think of using \u applied to \= a, but unfortunately it does not produce the intended result, or, well, not what is needed. Okay, I think maybe that's the correct way for LaTeX, but that's not what we want to do. So, how usually it's solved? Well, we rely on extra packages, right? We have packages to help typesetting several diacritical marks atop one letter for LaTeX, the Bear LaTeX case, TIPA, Stack Engine, and so on. You tell me if the time is. Okay, so let's speak a little bit more about the case of LaTeX. Now, let's take a look at diphthongs. That's another issue. That's remaining time? Yeah, okay, that's remaining. Okay. For example, the rendering of AE and OE is acceptable. Okay, just as is, we apply the macron or the macron on top of those, even in uppercase, no problem. Yet the duration of the AE diphthong can be short. Oh yeah, that's another issue. AE basically is a long vowel, but in some cases it can be short. So in other words, we need to put a brave atop the AE diphthong. Okay, so, but I think it works well. Yeah, the preprint is available. It is, however, more difficult to add a diacritical mark above the other diphthongs, such as AU and EU, because, well, I think you can all understand why. At the top, AE, OE, they are just one glyph, I think we can say. But when we have other diphthongs like AU, EU, now we have two glyphs, two letters. So it's more complicated to treat. So relying on the overline command is one solution. But the bar is this time slightly too long and is more or less depending on the font, too close to letters. Well, really that depends on the font, and it's not very, maybe not so important. So while the former issue can be addressed with mkern, the latter remains. Oh yeah, you notice in Japan the backslash is rendered at the yen marker. It's interesting. Okay, yeah, okay, 5, yeah. Now, okay, we have discussed enough about the case of LaTeX. Let's see what can be done with Lua, a Unicode support supported by Lua LaTeX. So first and foremost, support for diacritical marks, both single and multiple, strongly depends on the selected font. And this can rapidly become problematic because if there is a font you want to use, but it does not support that, well, too bad. But okay, let's take, for the purpose of this discussion, let's consider like the Google Noto font. And this font implements, well, it's quite complete, so it implements a lot of the glyphs and diacritics combinations we need. So, so in this case, which means if you can find a suitable font for your needs, Lua LaTeX brings significant advantages over LaTeX in our case. For example, it enables multiple diacritical marks on a character directly without packages. Or the macron over diphthongs can be further improved. Width and vertical gap can be adjusted, which is kind of technical, but it can be done, as I have tried in the, well, it's written in the preprint. 3 minutes, okay. About Unicode, well, okay, the purpose of Lua LaTeX is to try to rely on additional features provided by Unicode. So we did some experiments with the Noto serif font. First, the combining overline glyph, whose purpose is to render a continuous line above several letters, which we want to do, right? In the case of diphthongs like AU, EU, we want a bar above both letters. So that's one. But actually, you see, well, once again, it depends on the font, I think. But even a complete enough font like Noto is not good with that. You see, it was not satisfactory. The two overlays are not combined at all, so which is too bad. There is another one, the combining double macron glyph. But although it spans both letters, in this case, the position of the macron this time is wrong. So we can, there is another one, combining double brave. So it's a brave that can be used above several letters, 2 letters. That was satisfactory, and a few others. I'm almost, oh yeah, just on time. So, okay, 2 minutes. Regarding LaTeX, the support of single diacritical marks applied to a single letter is fully satisfactory. For native diphthongs such as AE and OE, macrons and breves are rendered as expected. Regarding other diphthongs like AU and EU, simple commands could do, but results vary. The most problematic issue arises from double diacritical marks. Their support requires an additional package. Regarding Lua LaTeX, Unicode provides useful features for typesetting Latin verse scansion. However, the support strongly depends on fonts. And without further ado, this is how it looks like. You can see at the top, this is the verse. And when you want to identify the metrical feet, and you see above the letters, the breves and macrons, you can see, you can see here the diphthong AE with a macron on top of it, and maybe, which is why I use this example, which is maybe the most tricky here. Trick is this case here. you see two letters, U and A, but I want a brief above both letters. So that was kind of difficult, but thanks to Unicode and LuaLaTeX, it was possible. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, nothing. Yeah, thank you for your attention.
Thank you. Questions, remarks? If there are not any, I have one. Could you show the last slide with the examples of typesetting?
I'm sorry, this is not control.
Yeah, fine. If I do understand correctly, you write the poetry with and insert the characters by hand, including the segmentation.
Yes, sure. Yeah, that's manual process. Yes.
But why not use patterns to segment the Latin words, given that it's finite problem, given that short, long syllables and common syllables are being able to be segmented, and you may have patterns for that. And similarly, maybe the accents might be added with similar approach, and using Lua on the fly, throwing the verse via different patterns and adding those segmentation and accents on the fly. Have you thought of this, or is it feasible?
I don't know, but that's really the first step. First step was to investigate what is possible, what are the issues of typesetting. Now, I think the next step could be, like you are suggesting, like automatization or using patterns to do this automatically. Now, is it possible? Actually, scansion rules in Latin, they are really difficult, okay? There are many verses, schemes, and so on. So I think that's something that can be tried, okay? Automatization. Now, is it possible? Well, I think we can, if we search online, we can find some simple verse schemes, and now the scansion would be automatized, but for the simple case. But in general, that's quite difficult. So, but anyway, I think it's worth looking into.
I think Patgen is able to cover exceptions based on the context. So once it's
I see.
known in advance, and there is finite set of Latin words,
okay.
So you may.
Okay, thank you for the input. I will look into that.
Yeah, we already have other questions.
Hi, thanks for your talk. I have a very basic question. Because Latin is not a spoken language anymore, how do we know the scansion? Like, how do we know these schemes and where to put the marks?
Yes, good point. There are rules. There are rules like poetry in other languages. You know, I'm French, so in French we can combine 6 syllables with another 6 syllables and so on. This makes words. And there are such kind of rules. So we have to follow the rules. And of course, there are many exceptions. So that's the difficult point. But I think that's your question. They are how should I say, based on the ancient literature. There are some rules. And for many centuries, literate people have tried to understand the rules, to document the rules, and yeah.
Other questions? Yeah, Martin.
It's less a question than a request. Could you read to us the poem that we had on the last slide?
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. It's not so difficult because it's close to French, and So usually it would not be that difficult.
Yes, it would be nice to hear it.
Yeah, okay. So please, can you show the last page? But I'm not sure I'm 100% correct. But okay. So ille pedum melior motu fretusque juventa hic membris et mole valens sed tarda trementi. Maybe the R would be like the Italian R. So I am doing the French R. Genua labant vastos quatit aeger angelitus artus. Multa viri nequiquam inter se vulnera jactant. And that's it. Yeah, well, that's an extract. So that's an extract. Is it? Are you satisfied? Yeah.